you know, we can sit and listen to that, feel powerless. We can feel like, oh, that's not fair. How did they get away with this? This is ridiculous.
Tell you what I heard.
What'd you hear?
I heard that your money has power. So make better money decisions. Make decisions that are going to actually service you and support you. Make decisions that are going to create the kind of environment that is going to help create the world that you want. Let's be very clear. Most of us cannot probably cut every single one of these organizations out of our lives. But we can be a lot more strategic about the way that we do business and the way that we spend.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
Yesterday somebody said, well, why are we just targeting Target? Why not everything else? And I was like, Target is an avatar for everybody else, right? If you can break one company, then they all know that they can be broken. It's what they did to us. You wonder how all of these amazing Zulu and Wolof and Mandingo and all of this got put on a slave ship, on a ship, and then there was only one massive revolt that we know about. There was a couple of others tried and some Maroonage, but Haiti, why didn't it happen? Because they chopped off feet and chopped off heads and kept heads on spikes and killed people and put mothers' legs on the two horses in opposite directions that are pregnant and slapped the asses of the horse until the woman split open and the baby came out, and then they stomped on the baby. They did all of these horrible, horrific things they only had to do it once. For you to know that could happen to me, I'm not going to, and I'm being hyperbolic, but I need you to understand, you only need to do a thing one time and do it well. And I'm saying you need to do this thing well and crush and break for the rest of them to know what's possible. Because right now they're playing in our faces thinking they can pay off this one or that one. But if there's no place to go and you just going to take this L, then the rest of Walmart going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, they could Target was big and they were actually putting black stuff in. What are they going to do to us? You don't believe that that's possible?
So I do. So here's where I am flawed. I have worked in retail. So I have a good working knowledge of how some of these conversations go. I have been in some of these executives' offices. I understand. I've worked on projects. I don't know about that. I don't know. I am not saying that take one down and others will notice approach is not a possible feasible one. I am not sure that the one you should have taken.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying I agree. That I agree with, but they're sorry.
We're here now.
It happened. We're here now. That's what I'm saying. We're not. We can't put that genie back. What I'm saying is, while they're on the ropes, and I think you're absolutely right. Target was not the most egregious. They weren't the problematic one or whatever. But I do think the example being set can have a positive impact, because what's possible, even as I am emboldened, I'm already, sold in, I'm already bought into this notion of self-determination, but I didn't think that we would hold out this long. And so and it has nothing to do with Target, right? It has everything to do with our ability to move about the cabin and hold our dollars differently than the way we were, and not have people disrespect our dollars. Right. Target is not the most egregious. I will say that. And maybe they should breathe. But for now, I'm sorry, this collateral damage in this fight that we're in. So I
do think it's not just that they were not the most egregious. I think it is also to some degree that I am going to be less fearful if the person on, the 30th floor takes some damage if I am on floor 75. I'm going to look down and go, we might gain a little market share over there. I think that this was not thought out in a way that helps to make the level of impact that it could have. So
I agree with you. Unfortunately, we have no
yeah,
leadership.
but
So this is what I'm saying.
yeah,
I'm always
yeah,
thinking how, I'm going to move.
correct.
However,
I
but
also
it's
want to
like,
say, I think that the holding of the dollars is only effective if said dollars are being spent in other places that make sense. Because if you're just going from, this one to another one and it's not
you still feeding the same beast.
thoughtfully
Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
In my wildest imagination, I see us, and I've said this before. I was around for Occupy Wall Street, and I was saying to my students at the time, pick one bank and Occupy. It's enough of y'all out there. Shut it down. You only have to do that for maybe a week. Y'all been out there in the park, crapping in the tents and stuff, doing all kind of horrible things for the last month. You only have to do this 1 week. Somebody's going to cry uncle, and then you're at the negotiation table because you just want to be able to negotiate, right? You got to bring the people to the table. Right now, there's no reason for them to come to the table because they got you coming and going. Amazon is difficult because you're going to abandon the servers that you're on because they own that. It's not just the, so I'm saying Target's easier because it's contained in a way that we can see the market share drop and maybe somebody else will buy them. I don't know. I'm saying in this power play, confidence is everything. And we see it with New York where people are like, it's possible. Obama didn't have a shot in hell of being president until he did because we believed he could be, and he did it twice. So I'm saying belief in a thing is important, even if it's the wrong thing, which this might be. I mean, hell, I thought if Montgomery really was about that life, they should have started a bus company and never gone back. We don't need you.
Period.
But that didn't happen.
But you also got to realize, getting the finances and all of that stuff to be able to do that back in that time, that's a whole other layer to that, right? Like, there's a lot of.
You had a year.
But also, you had a year, but you also got to think about who could actually get money, who actually was able to get loans to be able to make purchases. You have to think about what women did not have access to that they have access to now. You have to think about the fact that a lot of women were the organizers of this event, and they were the ones that would. So how would they have started a bus? There's some obstacles there.
They couldn't even get a credit card. No,
correct.
You're right.
So there's some elements to that I think create some issue, and I agree that in this circumstance there are some elements to this that also create an issue. Listen, I have tried my best to proliferate my opinion as much as I can and succinctly as possible. I think if you want to make a difference, everybody got to do it all at the same time. And when I say agree. Everybody, I think it needs to be not shopping. You need to not go. That's hard though. Right. But this is the thing that I, kind of get to, I feel like we have to recognize that change requires a little bit of battle wound. And so I have to be willing to hurt some. I have to be willing to take the brunt of something. I have to be willing to show up in community and support those who are taking that. And so if, I don't know, 40% of your workforce just didn't show up for a week, you're going to change your mind.
Yeah.
And you can do that to anybody. And so it's like,
I've been saying that about the NFL. We saw that with the one college team that didn't show, that threatened to not show up on a Saturday. And they were like, all right, he's fired. I said, whoa, this could happen over and over again. But it's so frustrating that you're right. We don't have the capacity to be uncomfortable for 1 day, let alone a whole year. But I wanted to play this clip from Representative Sam Liccardo from California 16th District. He was talking with an attorney, Morgan Harper, exposing how this current administration basically is bribing people or being bribed to get people off the hook. So there have been lawsuits with the banks, right? Because they've been doing some funny things like Wells Fargo and subprime lending and all that. And there have been cases brought and they've lost and they have to pay out.
Right.
Except if they pay to this administration, charges get dropped. Listen, take a listen.
Bank of America and JP Morgan were both under investigation regarding the Zelle network, regarding a failure to reimburse customers that were defrauded by scam artists. And that action was taken to the CFPB. And what was the result of that action?
Those are also among the cases that have been dismissed.
And Bank of America contributed to Donald Trump and his inauguration, didn't they?
Yes.
Was it $500,000?
I believe so.
And JP Morgan, another $1 million?
Yes.
And Capital One, The evidence from the CFPB indicated they may have cheated customers out of as much as $2 billion. Capital One contributed $1 million to Trump's inauguration.
Also true.
And what happened as a result to the CFPB case?
They got their case dismissed.
I am puzzled as to why we're having this hearing. As we were watching the defunding of the financial police happening over the last several months and weeks, all I have heard is criticism of whatever happened in the last administration. And I'm sure there's plenty of criticism that's legitimate against the last administration. I don't understand why we're still spending time on whatever happened in the last administration when we know what's happening under this administration is so corrupt and so clearly undermining the interests of every American consumer. I hope that our next hearing is going to actually focus on protecting American consumers and what we can do now and prospectively with a CFPB that has been utterly gutted as the Republicans continue to defund the financial police.
So all I'm saying, Amber and everybody, is, we can sit and listen to that, feel powerless. We can feel like, oh, that's not fair. How did they get away with this? This is ridiculous.
I'll tell you what I heard.
What'd you hear?
I heard that your money has power. So make better money decisions. Make decisions that are going to actually service you and support you. Make decisions that are going to create the kind of environment that is going to help create the world that you want. Let's be very clear. Most of us cannot probably cut every single one of these organizations out of our lives. But we can be a lot more strategic about the way that we do business and the way that we spend. I talked about it on the podcast where I'm like, I'm buying 5 clothing items this year. 5. Because I recognize that consumerism is running the machine. Like, make better dollar decisions.
You see what I wear every day.
That's what I mean. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Make better dollar decisions. Take your dollar to your local stores. Take your dollar to, everybody still got a mom and pop somewhere? Figure out what you can actually get locally. Figure out where you can put your dollars that makes a difference in your community. Figure out who you can give dollars to that is actually in need of that. Do you know how many young people that I'm like, hey, can you run this errand for me? I'll throw you a few dollars. Can you, if we could just be intentional about that, the money is the power. You hear it in that conversation.
Well, they said corporations are people. So it's political power. It's all kind of power. So if the rules are the rules, then we need to operate and not run around and be mad about it. Let's make this happen. 866-801-8255.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.